Hello friends, I hope you all are doing fine, and we have come to a very important juncture of our urban sociology course. In most of our previous sessions, our discussions revolved around urban sociology theories. We have come across diversified names, perspectives and models about urban sociology in our previous sessions. In today's session, we have a very interesting topic which impacts all of us either directly or indirectly, and that is nothing but a very important social institutions of marriage and family. So in this session, for coming few minutes, we will try to understand and find out how urban marriages are shaped up, how urban families are playing a significant role with regard to urban social structure. So to begin with, we all know that marriage leads to establishment of families, which is basic to human groups, interaction and survival. Sexual gratification, which is the biological need of every organism, and legitimation of children, which is a social need, and it also fulfills the psychological needs and economic cooperation, which is economic need. Marriages can be monogamous or polygamous, incorporating the rules of endogamy and exogamy. Though most of you are familiar with these concepts, I think it is better to very quickly tell you what these terminologies mean. Monogamy, mono is single, gamy is marriage. So when we have one single spouse, that marriage is called as monogamy. Marriages can also be of polygamous type. Polygamous means what? A person having multiple spouses. So if one husband has many wives, that marriage is called as polygynous marriages, and if one wife has multiple husbands, it is called as polyandrous marriages. You might be wondering that we don't see such kind of marriages, but polyandrous marriages are mostly found among primitive communities where there is a concept of bride price. We will have this discussion in some other session, some other time. So apart from monogamy and polygamy, marriages are also categorized on the basis of endogamy and exogamy. Endo is inside, gamy means marriage. So when you are marrying within your own group, that is caste, it is called as endogamous marriage. Even if you are marrying within your own caste, my dear friends, with specific reference to Hindu marriages, there are certain aspects which has to be considered, like gotra. So even if you are from the same caste, we are not supposed to marry within the same gotra, and that is why exogamy, gotra is a exogamous group. Gotra and Pinda, gotra is common lineage, Pinda is common parentage, and in some communities even pravara exogamy is followed. What is this pravara exogamy? Pravara is nothing but when a group of people are uttering the name of a same saint, that group is called as pravara. So people belonging to same gotra, same pinda, same pravara, or in some cases same village, are considered to be brothers and sisters, and that is why the rules of exogamous in marriage becomes critical. In urban marriages, we see changes in rules of marriage with specific reference to exogamy and endogamy. The Hindu Marriage Act 1955 has allowed Sagotra and Sapinda marriage. It has also allowed the cross-cousin marriage where it prevailed customarily. Intercaste marriages are encouraged by social reformers and legal system as well. But we are witnessing honor killings in case of intercaste or even Sagotra marriages, that is marriage within the same gotra in different parts of India. Changes have also been marked in the respect of the rites and rituals of marriage. We are witnessing simplification of the rituals and make the marriage rites and rituals precise. Even the rituals and rites are not allowed sincerely or probably rigidly. The Civil Marriage Act of 1954 has made provision for marriages in civil courts. The Arya Samaj and other religious reform movements have made the marriage rituals simple and also precise to a great extent. We are also witnessing that there is increase in the age of marriages. Do you know what is the legal age of marriage, my dear friends? The minimum age for marriage for boys has been fixed as 21 years and for girls as 18 years. But still we do see instances of child marriages. Therefore, the occurrence of child marriage has become rare, but it does exist in remote corners. The bad effects of early marriage, the spread of education and the desire for higher education and economic independence has led to late marriages both among males as well as females. There is a decline of parental control over the arrangement of marriage. Earlier, the marriages were settled by parents or other relatives. I am not trying to say that in today's time parents have no role to play. I don't intend to say that at all. But I am sure you will definitely agree with me that nowadays the decisions with regard to marriages in urban areas is a collective decision where the boys and girls or whoever are the probable partners, their likelihood is also being taken into consideration. The decision regarding the selection of mates by parents was binding in earlier times, but in today's time that is slightly flexible. These values enable them to take their own decision in marriage. The parents and relatives now seek the opinion of the children while performing the marriage. The incidences of widow remarriage were beyond thought previously. The Hindu Widow Remarriage Act 1950 has made provision for remarriage of widows as well. In urban areas, however, widow remarriages are happening and being accepted at a wider scale. Marriage as an institution has become unstable and we are seeing increased rate of divorce cases. Now, this is a point of discussion, my dear friends. Why the cases of divorce is increasing, and especially in a country like India where a predominant population is Hindu, and among Hindus marriage is like a relationship of 7 births which are making marriages unstable is definitely matter of discussion and concern. When we talk about the aims of the marriage, even they have undergone changes to a great extent. For example, in Hindu marriages, dharma, praja and rati. Dharma is righteousness, praja is procreation and rati is the sexual pleasure. These were considered as the 3 aims of the Hindu marriages. But even those aims have undergone lot of changes. In contemporary times, the companionship has become a very important factor for marriage, and in fact this is one of the main aims of marriages also. In urban areas, the traditional criteria of caste, religion, family, background and income are not as important as it used to be in earlier times in the selection of mates. Rather, apart from these factors, the emphasis is also on the socio-economic status, education, earning potential, work management of both the would-be spouses. There are more number of love marriages in urban setup in contemporary times. We are also witnessing that the control of parents over the selection of mates in marriage is on the decline. Traditionally, it was the responsibility of the parents or the guardians to arrange marriages for their children, and their decision was final and binding even against the wishes of the spouses or the mates. But however, the impact of the West, spread of modern education, economic independence have enabled the boys and girls in the urban setup to choose their mates according to their own wishes. The Hindu Marriage Act of 1950 has declared polygamy to be illegal. The law provides that no one can marry a second time while the former spouse is alive. This has brought to an end the age-old practice of marrying several women in order to get a son. Friends, you all are aware that with specific reference to Indian tradition, Indian custom, son preference is a very, very important criteria. Probably most of you may not agree with what I am saying because we still have a contemporary or a urban outlook. But if you slightly move away from the hardcore urban way of living, the concept of son preference as part of having children, you can see is a very, very strong predominant factor. In today's time, women have now become educated and conscious of their equal rights in marriage. So, multiple changes have influenced the urban marriages to a great extent. Those changes include technological factors, changes in our value system, changes and more encouragement to women's education. All these aspects have brought lot many changes in our marriage system and especially in urban marriages. When we talk about urban family, is urban family different from a rural family? Let us try to understand. So, the family, like marriage, has been defined in various ways. Burgess says that these characteristics are common to the human family in all times and all places and differentiate the family from the other social groups. So, what are these characteristics? The family is composed of persons united by ties of marriage, blood or even adoption. The members of a family typically live together under one roof and constitute a single household, or if they live apart, they consider the household their home. The family is composed of persons who interact and communicate with each other in their social roles such as husband and wife, mother and father, son and daughter, brother and sister. Further, the family maintains a common culture. It is derived mainly from the general culture, but each family has some distinctive features. Dear friends, now whatever definition Burgess has given, I am sure you will agree with me that these characteristics we find not only in Indian families and Western families, but indeed in urban families as well as rural families also. Now, after discussing that what exactly constitutes a family, if we try to have a sociological discussion that how many types of families are there are multiple criteria with regard to types of family also. Let us highlight some of those criteria in our discussion. So, families can be categorized on the basis of marriage. So, polygynous family as well as we can have a monogamous family. Now, see, as I told you earlier, monogamous family, one husband, one wife, their children. Polygynous family, one husband, many wives, their children. Polyandrous family, one wife, many husbands and their children. So similarly, on the basis of your locality, on the basis of your procreation, on the basis of the size, families can be categorized. Now, with specific reference to size, if I talk, families can be nuclear families, joint families, extended families. And when we talk about India, when we talk about Indian social organization, in fact, joint family is the hallmark of Indian social structure. Similarly, families can be patriarchal families or matriarchal families depending upon who is exercising the authority. For example, if the eldest male member is exercising the authority, the family is patriarchal. If eldest female member is exercising the authority, the family is matriarchal. Similarly, families are patrilineal as well as matrilineal. Apart from this, families can also be categorized into family of orientation and family of procreation. See the word orientation, from where we orient. So, ourselves and our parents is family of orientation. Ourselves, our spouse and our children is family of procreation. So, irrespective of whatever type of family we are discussing or what we see in urban areas, the structure, functions of urban family has undergone changes. Now, let us try to discuss these changes one after the other. When we talk about the functions of urban family definitely performs biological functions like reproductive functions, providing food, housing and clothing to the family members. It also performs psychological functions in terms of, providing all kind of emotional support. Augburn has included affectional functions in the necessary or vital functions of the family. With specific reference to economic functions, the division of labor, arrangement for income, organization and care of property we see in urban families as well. The social functions include determination of status, socialization of the individual, apart from the family imparting learning to individual on all those aspects where one can become an ideal member of society. Exercise of social control and transmission of social heritage are also critical functions of family in urban setup. In urban milieu, the functions of family are changing. That is agreed, because there are other agencies which are taking over the functions of family. For example, creches and children parks are being developed in modern progressive centers. Employed women who work in factories leave their feeding children at the creches or the daycare centers, where other women look after them, feed them at proper time and keep them occupied with the toys. Looking after the children was a typical function of a joint family system, but today in urban areas we see that it is changing, because both husbands and wife are working, and with regard to young children we require some supporting agency. Previously, one of the fundamental functions of the family was caring for and assisting the old, the invalids as well as unemployed. But today we are seeing that we also have daycare centers for elderly. Let us try to analyze the changes which have taken place in urban family with the help of specific pointers. Like, first of those pointers is with regard to cooking and dining. When we talk about cooking and dining aspect, I think this is one function where almost every urban family has undergone change, where outside dining or support of the various curry points or the locality restaurants, hotels, takeaways, this concept has increased tremendously. In earlier times, joint family system was a very, very important center for recreation. So the recreation of contemporary urban family also has undergone change, where other agencies are looking after the recreation. With regard to gender relationships, we are seeing changes in the status and role of women. And with specific reference to marital and sexual relationships, though this is a point of discussion and debate, we are definitely observing lot of laxity. So to quote Sutherland and Woodward, the family has been greatly affected by the changes in sex values and mores to a great extent. The urban families are more of small family with less number of individuals, and we are also seeing the increasing trend of family disorganization and instability, and there are also several challenges of adjustment and compatibility between husband and wife, probably because both are working, both are under the external work pressure as well as the internal responsibilities. This has led to increased number of divorce cases and more of independent children. This is a Western phenomenon which we are definitely seeing in the Indian urban scenarios as well. There is a conflict between parents and children, and in some cases lot of democratic values prevailing, where both children and elders are taking collective decisions. It has also been pointed out that urban families have the challenges of psychological security. Friends, we can very comfortably say that the families are changing from traditionality to modernity, and probably it is in the phase of transition. I will take some time to explain some of these aspects more in detail. I am very much concerned about this aspect of neo-local residence. Now, when you talk about urban families, this is a new trend which has emerged. What is this neo-local residence? Usually we would see that after marriage the girl would shift to the boy's family. This is the very popular and most accepted norm. In few matriarchal families it would be the boys who would shift to girl's house. But in contemporary urban India, what we are seeing is neither the girl is shifting to the boy's family nor the boy is shifting to the girl's family. Rather, both the newlyweds, they come together and they establish their own residence. So this is the concept of neo-local residence, which has to be understood in the context of the present day urban family. The functional jointness. Now, what is this functional jointness? Earlier, when we talk about family, common kitchen was a very important concept, but now that concept is fading away. What we are seeing that in urban areas where we have an apartment culture, probably the parents are staying in one flat on one floor and the children are staying in another flat probably on the same floor or the succeeding floors. So, though the common kitchen concept is not there, but the concept of coming together in the times of requirement, that is very much seen. So functionally jointness is there, probably day to day activity based jointness is not there, but the functional jointness is one of the emerging characteristic of urban families in India. Apart from the functional jointness, we are also seeing equality of individuals. This is what I was trying to tell you, friends, that more of democratic value system, democratic relationships is prevailing in the urban families, where there is a collective decision making by the parental generation as well as the succeeding generation. So we are seeing more of a equality in terms of decision making. With specific reference to status for women with regard to urban family, because of better educational prospects, and even urban women becoming more career oriented, and we have more of working women, the status of women at the urban family level also has undergone lot of change, and we see relatively equal status for women in contemporary urban family. There is a joint mate selection. This is another key criteria with regard to urban family. Earlier times, parental role was predominating, but in contemporary times, parents and the would-be spouses, they are making a joint mate selection. If all these aspects are on a positive side, we are also seeing the weakening of family norms. Now, it is definitely debatable that why family norms are weakening. Multiple factors of exposure, multiple impact of Western culture, and probably as a value system, we are also transiting from collectivism to individualism. So, I would personally not think that it is actually weakening of norms, but of course, transition in norms, I would personally definitely agree with that, but there are experts who think that in urban families, the family norms are weakening. So, I leave it to your wisdom whether you would prefer to use weakening or transition in the norms. The urban families differ from the rural families not only in composition but also in ideology. It has already been stated that the nuclear family in urban areas is somewhat smaller than the non-urban nuclear family, and that the urban dweller is more likely to choose the nuclear family than the rural dweller. According to M.S. Gore, he has maintained that the urban families show a shift away from joint family norms in their attitudes, role perceptions, and in their behavior. For example, in the area of decision making, unlike the rural families, in urban families, parents rather than the eldest males take decisions about their children. Similarly, urban people who favor the idea of brothers living together after the death of parents are fewer than the rural people with the same attitude. I.P. Desai, who is a prominent researcher in family studies, does not share this belief that urbanization as such leads to the breakup of the joint family system. In his analysis of the effect of urbanization on jointness, he observed significant relationship between the duration of the stay of the family in urban area and traditional jointness. His presumption was that longer the duration of the stay of family in an urban area, lower will be the degree of jointness. Lewis Wirth also believed that city is not conducive to the traditional type of family life. According to him, the family as a unit of social life is emancipated from the larger kinship group characteristic of village, and the individual members pursue their own diverging interests in their vocational, educational, religious, recreational as well as political life. Urban marriage and family is reflected through these features. Presently, we are seeing one-person households. Men as well as women want to establish their own identities by independently establishing livelihoods. Living apart together is another emerging trend. As people are getting more isolated, they don't want their privacy to be interfered, and thus they adopt the path of living apart together. Dink syndrome, double income, no kids. This syndrome, this term was coined in 1980s at the height of yuppie culture. People don't want to take responsibility of the kids and want to enjoy their life without any stress and direct responsibilities. They find kids as an additional responsibility. We are also seeing the trend of having children without marriage through surrogacy, which is also a prominent trend among celebrities. Even the married couples, after having their own children, are having additional children through surrogacy. There is emergence of support network organizations to hold regular meetings, socialize and share a common set of concerns to offset the loneliness of the elderly staying alone and whose kids are abroad. When we talk about the urban family and marriages, we are seeing that there is an increasing trend with regard to live-in relationships. Of course, it is outside the jurisdiction of this session to debate whether live-in relationships are good, bad, should be accepted or should not be accepted, because as students of sociology, our responsibility is to report the realities and not do the value judgments. But indeed, it is a fact that the urban family is in phase of transition. Urban marriages are undergoing changes. There are multiple factors which are bringing stress and strain, and probably a new form of urban marriage and urban family is evolving and emerging. So friends, if you have any such experiences and would like to share the new dimensions of urban family and marriages, please do write to me at pandevini@gmail.com, and I will meet you very soon with another interesting session with regard to urban areas, and that will be on urban stratification system. So till then, be happy, be safe, take care, see you all, bye bye.